The chemical specialist who dissolved 500 bodies from the cartel. One chemical, one specialist, and 500 bodies were dissolved. It's not the first time that we hear of insane crime, but this crime kicks differently. Something that has never been seen or never been heard. Was this person a psychopath, or was he doing that to hide a mystery that was known to these people? What's the truth? Don't worry, here in the next few minutes, we'll reveal what was going on then inside the cartel. The science. This case is really different, so first for a moment, let's understand how a human body gets dissolved using chemicals. It is possible for some chemicals to dissolve the human body, but this doesn't happen very often. The process is called tissue dissolution or tissue autolysis, and it can happen naturally over time after a person dies. The enzymes in the body start to break down the body's tissues, which causes the body to break down. Chemicals can sometimes be used to speed up the process of tissue dissolving. Forensic science, for example, sometimes soaks bodies in a solution of water and potassium hydroxide to get rid of soft tissues and make it easier to look at bones. How did he become a drug dealer? Santiago Mita Lopez, commonly known as El Pozolero, was a Mexican drug dealer who rose to fame for his participation in the disposal of bodies on behalf of the Tijuana cartel.
¿Cuánto tiempo estuviste haciendo todo esto?
10 años.
Y en ese tiempo, ¿cuántos cuerpos?
300.
Amarillo todo.
Mesa Lopez was born in the state of Nayarit in Mexico and lived through the childhood in abject poverty. After a while, he relocated to Tijuana, where he first found employment as a street seller and then went on to become a taxi driver. In the late 1990s, members of the Tijuana cartel approached him and presented him with the opportunity to work with the organization as a specialist in the disposal of bodies. Mesa Lopez accepted the offer and went on to become notorious for the gruesome ways he used to dissolve the bodies of the cartel's victims in vats of caustic soda. The disintegration of the remains was done to thwart efforts by law enforcement to establish the identities of the deceased and collect evidence against the cartel. According to the reports, Mesa Lopez was responsible for the disposal of hundreds of dead bodies in this manner. Mesa Lopez continued to be an important member of the Tijuana cartel for a number of years, despite the awful nature of the work he was responsible for. However, by 2009, he was taken into custody by Mexican police and subsequently extradited to the United States, where he was charged with being involved in the distribution of illegal drugs.
¿Te proporcionaba este tipo de cosas?
Yo lo compraba.
¿Dónde lo comprabas?
En cualquier parte de la Unión.
¿Qué tiempo se tardaba en deshacer un cuerpo?
Tijuana versus Sinaloa cartel. Tijuana and Sinaloa cartels are two of the most powerful and important drug trafficking groups in Mexico. Tijuana cartel is based in Tijuana, and the Sinaloa cartel is based, of course, in Sinaloa. Both of these groups have a lengthy history of criminal activity, including violence, bribery, and the distribution of illegal drugs. They are also notorious for their complex criminal networks and ruthless strategies. The Tijuana cartel is also referred to as the Arellano Felix organization. It was founded in the late 1980s and has its headquarters in Tijuana, which is located in the state of Baja California. It was previously one of the most powerful and feared drug trafficking organizations in Mexico, but in recent years, as a result of arrests and killings of its senior executives, the organization's strength has decreased significantly. In spite of this, the Tijuana cartel continues to operate and is involved in a variety of illicit operations, including the trafficking of drugs, kidnapping, and other crimes. On the other side, one of the most powerful and prominent drug trafficking groups in the world is the Sinaloa cartel. It is one of the largest drug trafficking organizations in the world and is headquartered in the state of Sinaloa, which is located in Mexico, and was founded in the 1980s. The Sinaloa cartel is notorious for its complex criminal network as well as its capacity to exert control over the drug trade in a number of different nations, including Mexico, the United States, and throughout Europe. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, who was one of the most wanted individuals in the world until his arrest in 2016, is the leader of the Sinaloa cartel. And as a result of their competition for control of drug trafficking routes and drug markets, the Tijuana and Sinaloa cartels have been engaged in a fight that has persisted for a significant amount of time. This conflict's led to a dramatic increase in the quantity of violence and death, including beheadings, mass killings, and other acts of extreme brutality. Both the Tijuana and Sinaloa cartels continue to operate and pose a substantial threat to the security and stability of Mexico and other nations, in spite of the efforts that have been made by the government of Mexico and the law enforcement authorities of that country. Because of their adaptability and capacity for evolution, as well as the sophistication of this criminal network that they operate, it is tough to disrupt and overcome them. The case. Santiago Meza Lopez has been behind bars for the last 8 years, ever since he was taken into custody by Mexican authorities. At that time, the administration of President Felipe Calderon began referring to Meza as El Pozolero, which literally translates to the stew maker. This nickname was a reference to the fact that it was believed that Meza has dissolved approximately 300 persons in caustic soda. Meza Lopez was portrayed as one of the most ruthless drug traffickers in the game, and the official description of him suggested that he would be subjected to a severe sentence in a press release that was distributed on January 25, 2009 by the Office of the Attorney General. After 10 years have passed, the current situation is very different. The Federation of Judicial Power, which is in charge of imposing sentences in Mexico, provided Vice News in Espanol with information that revealed that to this day, Meza Lopez still hasn't been formally sentenced, despite admitting to these horrible acts and being convicted of crimes. In the meanwhile, he will continue to spend his time behind bars at the Almoloya de Juarez prison. It was in this facility that he completed his elementary school education and learned how to write. However, his defense attorney has been successful in submitting a number of stays, all of which have been granted by the judges, effectively delaying the official day on which he will be sentenced. In spite of this, the border city of Tijuana can be found in the most remote part of the country, which is in the northernmost part of the country. In this city, human remains are continually being dug up from the ground, and it's likely that these are the remains of people who were dissolved by Meza Lopez. They appear every time it rains, every time the wind disturbs the earth, and every time a group of family members of the disappeared shows up with a pickaxe and a shovel to search for the bones of their children, dads, and grandsons. According to Fernando Osegueda, who serves as the president of the organization known as United for the Disappeared, or Unidos por los Desaparecidos in Spanish, on the land where Meza Lopez dismembered and dissolved in acid the bodies of the people who were kidnapped by the Arellano Felix and Sinaloa cartels, the organizations that have historically controlled drug trafficking in that city, the most recent excavations were carried out between the months of August and October. A few weeks ago, the most significant excavation to date took place at a house that is located just outside the city limits. This excavation took place in an area known as the Chicken Coop. This event took place 8 years to the day after Meza Lopez was taken into custody, and it opened a fresh door for the families of Mexico's missing persons. The families had been instructed by the authorities that DNA could not be recovered from the organic remains, but in the middle of August, Fernando Osegueda and other family members uncovered fresh graves in the chicken coop, and they extracted 250 kilograms of bones and bone fragments from those sites. So, that's all for this video. Let us know in the comment box what all you thought about our video, and please like it and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the bell icon to get notifications on all of our latest videos. Thanks for watching.